That's fine.
So yeah, we'll get into it. Welcome everyone, Coach Wad's podcast, where we talk all things mindset. Now, I'm super excited today to be joined virtually by my guy Valentino. He is a founder of DiLorenzo Soccer Mindset, and dude, you're doing some amazing things in youth soccer and in mindset in general. So I'm super excited that you're here. Happy you're here, and we're just gonna dive right in, get into it, get to know you a little bit, know what you're all about, know what makes you tick. Um,
I,
I always I always like to start with, like, kinda where what the childhood was like. Like, what's the background? Where did you grow up? And, yeah, just give us kind of the history there.
yeah, happy to be here, Josh. Thanks for having me. So yeah, I mean, I started playing soccer when I was probably, my mom said that I was kicking the ball as I couldn't even walk. So like she was holding me and I would kick the ball. But in Europe, I'm from Italy. You started playing soccer around 4 years old, 5 years old. Now in America, it's becoming the same, right? But 10 years ago, it wasn't like that. There was no soccer at a very young age. But in Europe, in Italy, is all they play. So I started playing soccer when I was 5 years old, and I had really fun playing it. It was my favorite sport. I always wanted to become a professional player, but yeah, the challenges after 10 years old, 11 years old, when you have pressure to perform and all those things, made me kind of play scared at times. And yeah, but soccer is probably my favorite sport. And I watch other sports, but soccer, I would say, is my number one.
Yeah. So you started when you're pretty young, 4 and 5, and that's a crazy thing too, is I'm seeing that as a, sports coach myself is, man, the competitive sports starts so early nowadays. For
Yes.
instance, my sport of choice is baseball. I coach football, basketball, baseball. I'll be honest, I've coached soccer, but I don't know soccer very well. So it's younger ages, so I don't teach them wrong techniques. But um I learned a lot more about it when my youngest, he played travel soccer for 1 year, and he always talks about wanting to get back into it. So we're looking into that. But anyway, it starts so early, and
Yeah.
like you said, 10 years ago, it wasn't like that. Like when I was
Yeah.
growing up too, we played city ball, and then you might have an all star team, but it wasn't the travel or the competitive like it is now. So yeah, you said started at 4 or 5 years old. About 10 or 11 is when you, yeah. I mean, were you playing competitive soccer? How is it in Europe? Because it's a little different than it is here. I mean, soccer obviously is a lot bigger in Europe than it is here.
Yeah. In Europe, or in Italy in general, in Italy or in Europe in general, like they start competitive or already like at 5 years old, 6 years old. I mean, there's some recreational program, but like they start playing. They start playing against other teams already. They start the competitions, and so that's why probably the competition is better there. You start playing at a young age, and you start competing at a young age. Obviously, the score don't matter as much, but yeah.
Okay. And then so you continued to play throughout your teen years and high school into college. I mean, what's kind of the story
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, so I played I was in a small town in Italy, and I was one of the player. It was me and another player that were looked by other teams. By like I did some trials with Inter Milan, Parma, like big teams, and then I ended up playing. Getting recruited by like a more regional team, so a bigger team. So we were just, the cool kids, that were scouted by those regional teams, and
Oh, that's cool.
playing higher competitive. We're traveling, we're doing, kind of like in the US MLS, right? So the MLS next, you have the high competition and academy. And yeah, so the growing up, I played in multiple regional teams, and also I played in the futsal in the Serie A too, which is the second division. So we were playing a national league there, and yeah. But I mean, I went from being this kid that was struggling with confidence to playing like to being scouted and recruited, for the top teams.
Yeah. What so yeah, you talk about that like at a younger age, you're a little bit, struggling with the confidence with that. And then you worked into, playing really high competitive soccer. What is there like a defining moment or like a mentor that really helped you realize that like where you were seeing those challenges or like where it came from like the mental side, and like what kind of was the trigger for that?
Yeah, so I had a lot of good coaches and mentors. One in particular that was really good and was really patient, and he really believed in me. So he taught me some of the mental tools, and I didn't really realize at the time that it's the same things that we teach right now. But it took many, many years, to learn those skills. So it wasn't, I don't think it was a defining moment. It was just multiple coaches believing in me because they saw the potential and everything. Especially, once you get recruited to play for those higher teams, the pressure is even higher, right? So there's a lot of
Mm.
kids that are the same level as you, but in the small town team, you're the one scoring all the goals. Then you get recruited, and then now everybody is at the same level. So that's where the struggles arise. But you're like, oh, this guy's even better than me. This guy's, and then you start playing scared. But if you have mentors and good coaches that can, support you along the way, obviously, I wish I had a program that changed my mentality in 90 days. It took me many years to learn that, but it was still good. I was able to. But a lot of kids that are not able to do that on their own, and they're not lucky to have good mentors. So they might, the crazy statistic right now, um, I guess it's 70% of kids before the age of 13 they quit sports.
Mhm.
So, and there's 60 million kids participating in youth sports. So 42 millions drop out.
Yeah, I know. Isn't
So
that wild? Like, yeah. We talk about that quite a bit too, because from the baseball standpoint, just because that's the sport that I am specific with, I guess. It's kind of the same thing, is about that 13, 14 is when you really see, well, 12, 13 is when you really see the kids start to drop off. And what we're trying to do, or how we approach coaching from that aspect, is we're trying to prepare the kids for the next level. So like my oldest now, he has moved on to a different team and different coaches. And that was what we try to do, is prep him to be ready for that. Now I'm going back to with my youngest, how he's 8 or he's 9 now. And we're trying to prep him for that next stage, and not just prep them, in being good or skilled in the sport, but like you said, with the mental and the mindset and understanding that stuff, so that they enjoy the game, so that they do
yeah,
want to keep doing it. Because and I mean, you can tell me if you feel the same way or not, but got sports in general, and just competition, I won't even say sports, it could be any competition, is such a good teacher in the lessons of life. And it can really, and it doesn't matter what you're competing in, right? Just that competition, and even the team camaraderie, or even if it's an individual type of competition, it's such a good teacher of the skills of life. And so that's what we're trying to do, is really push them to be prepared for that next level, whatever that next stage in life is. But we want to help them play for as long as they want to play, I guess, is the
yeah.
philosophy.
Yeah, most kids stop playing because they have too much pressure and they stop having fun. So they're like, why do I want to go and sacrifice my time 3 times a week, 4 times a week, travel, if I go there and I don't play or I don't have fun playing? So that's what we want to do, is restoring that passion for the game, which make it fun again, and then um, like also it will prepare them for life, because at the first challenge, if you give up, then in life you're not going to achieve anything. So we teach that growth mindset mentality that will help them, whether they become a professional or not, they're still going to need that.
Yeah. And understanding that failure, like success doesn't happen in absence of failure. It happens because of failure. And yeah, 100%, dude. Yeah.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we've referenced Michael Jordan. We're having to start to update our references a little bit to like the Steph
Yeah,
Currys and the, different guys like that, because they'll look at me like, they all know, even at 9, they do know who Michael Jordan is, but sometimes they
yeah.
look at you and they're like, who is Scottie Pippen? And it's
Yeah, even Ronaldo, Messi, now they're gonna probably finish in the next couple of years, and then the new kids are gonna be, who's Ronaldo? And like, I know Messi, I know Mbappe, for example, like a new player.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Or it's like way back in the, not way back in the day, but like when I, at least when I was growing up and everything, it was like David Beckham and this and that,
yeah.
and you have these different players, and now it's Messi and Ronaldo. And I learned Messi and Ronaldo because my son started playing, and he's got a Ronaldo. Oh, I better get this right. He's got Messi jerseys, but he's got Ronaldo pictures in his room. So yeah, I we just have to keep
Right.
updating, right? So we're not just the
Yeah,
old guys.
exactly.
Oh, that's awesome. And it's super I'm glad that you talked about that as having the mentor because so a while ago I went through do you know who Simon Sinek is? Have you heard of him? He does the start with why, like what's your why?
Oh, no, no, I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, so I went through just I read his books and then went through kind of try to find my why, my purpose. And what when you go through that discovery and everything, you really try it shows you the impactful parts of your life and who impacted you and this and that. And what I realized was, um, I mean, I'm in a place where I'm at right now, and a lot of the formative things that help form who I am come from those mentors and coaches that I had when I was growing up. So, like you saying that same thing, it's like it is important. It's important for these kids to have somebody. Obviously, we want them to have their parents and whatnot, but having a mentor that is one, I mean, you can tell me too. I want you to talk about this, but one, compassionate, understanding, but somebody who can push you too and push you from a place of truly caring, not just being stern or mean.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
So yeah, I mean, what I usually say to parents when I talk to them is like, you can teach them all those things that we teach, and we have some sports psychologist parents, some life coaches parents. The problem is that they see you as the dad, so you still need to find somebody else, another mentor, to help them. And then what happen is they're gonna listen to you way more because it's like, oh, that's what Coach Valentino said. You're right now, but at the beginning you're just a dad until somebody else tells you the same thing. So
Yeah,
that's what I hear a lot from the parents is like, I tell them all those things every day, but they don't listen to me. It's normal. I was the same. So, but yeah,
100%.
but being once you give them feedback, if you really want to give feedback to them, you want to be understanding and compassionate, which it doesn't mean like, oh, like second place or you did amazing, but like it's just praising the effort. If they really put in the effort, they put in the work, rather than why didn't you score that goal, it was that easy, right? So that things like that can really scar your child, for
Yeah,
sure.
100%. That's one thing I've really tried to do with my boys. My two boys is teach them that, like, listen, when we're on the field, I am coach first. Now, I'm always going to be dad. Like, if you need me to be dad, I'll be dad 100%. But I am not out there to treat you any different than any other kid. And they've done really good at that, but I'm still dad. So, like, we
Yeah.
do a thing too where it's like, where if my kid is pitching, I don't go out to the mound and talk to him if he's struggling. One of the other coaches does because for that same exact reason, right?
Yeah.
You're always going to be dad. And so it's great to have those mentors. My favorite thing is because my boys hear me say all this stuff from a coaching standpoint, from a mindset standpoint, and all this, and then I'll see somebody else on TikTok or on Instagram say something, and it'll be like almost exactly what I say, and I'll just show it to them, and they'll be like, you could see it in their head, like, "Dang it, Dad was right," but it doesn't. But Valentino, it doesn't register the same way, does it? Like it,
No, no.
yeah, no,
It's like
like
it's almost like they hate that you're right.
yeah, they're like, come on, yeah, yeah, yeah. So no, that's a good segue kind of into, yeah, I mean, give us the 10,000-foot view or of what you do and what your program is. I know we kind of alluded to it, but yeah, let us know. Let the people know. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a clear, structured program that it's a different thing than your typical sports psychologist or therapist, where they really want to sell you the sessions, and more session, the more money they make. For us, it's a clear structure where we actually struggle to have continuation in the program because people already see results and everything. They don't need us anymore. That's what they think. But it's 8 coaching calls one-on-one, and the first 4 coaching calls are all about the transformation. So we change the self-talk, we change the beliefs, we work on mental tools, and then we keep them accountable for the duration of the program. But the second part of the program is all about pre-game routines, some life skills that they need, nutrition to game analysis, so good everything that they need to perform at their best. And throughout the whole 90 days is 90 days because the last final part of the program is the group and accountability. So they need to show that they continue doing the work. So throughout the whole 90 days, they need to apply those techniques, implement those habits that we teach, and then continue showing the accountability, giving us feedback. So the real work is probably the sending feedback when they practice or play, how they use the mentality. What did you do to use them? And the more they do that, the more they realize how they should be playing. Literally empowering them to use, to take more chances, to take more risks, to move on from mistakes. We have specific techniques, the goldfish mentality, the shark mentality, the positive self-talk, that allow them to really, use them as a tool, in their toolbox.
Yeah, that's that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I about cut you off. What were you going to say?
No, that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's good. I love it. Yeah, that positive self-talk. I do a thing, and I mean, I got to remember who I took it from. But I borrowed it from somebody who they talk about. We try to teach them too how the power of the mind, like it is truly powerful. So we try to cater it to, especially with our younger athletes, is like we do this exercise, and anybody that follows me will know the answer to this. But if I tell you, you cannot make your brain not think something, and so like negative thoughts, right? So I'm like,
Yes.
close your eyes, and they'll close their eyes, and I'll be like, don't think about an elephant.
You think
And they'll be
about
like,
the
"Hey,
elephant.
yeah, exactly. You think about the elephant." And we
That's
do
so
that
funny.
because, yeah, because we're like, you can't make yourself. So like when you're going up to the plate, and you're going to go to bat, you your brain, because we're human, our brain is meant to keep us safe. Um, it's going to want you to think, "Oh, I don't want to strike out. I don't want to strike out. I don't want to strike out." And that's fine. That's the elephant. What we need to do is we need to reframe that to not, "I don't want to strike out," to, "I'm going to get a hit. I'm going to get a hit. I'm going to get a hit." So that positive self-talk is the 100%. I feel that to my core. Yeah.
It's funny because I use a similar thing, but not the elephant. I say, don't think about an orange. What do you think about? And then they think about the orange. So it's kind of like the same thing. So basically, don't focus on what you don't want to happen. Focus on what you want to happen. Also, a lot of the kids that play in fear, we make them realize that they're using a different part of the brain, right? Where they're using the amygdala, which is the fight or flight mode. So they basically they're playing in survival. So when you play in survival, your body's shaking, you're weak. I basically ask them, when you're in fear, how's your body? Is it
Mhm.
strong or is it weak? Oh, it's weak. How's your legs? They're weak. Of course, and also you're focusing on mistakes more because you're saying, I don't want to make mistakes. I don't want to make mistakes. The problem is our brain does not record negative phrases, so it's gonna focus on what you don't want. um, so
It's like
that's
I use this with them too, is like the downhill skier. Like if that downhill skier, backcountry skier, and he's bobbing and weaving through the trees, if he's thinking, don't hit the tree, don't hit the tree, he's going to
right.
hit the tree. So I'm like, what do you think about? You have to think about the gaps in the trees, because what you focus on is what you will achieve.
Exactly.
So we talk about that all the time with them too. It's funny though, because now that my boys, this team specifically, but as you see these athletes go through these programs and stuff, you'll be talking to them, and we'll do it with them, and they'll be around, or we'll do it with new kids, and it'll be like, don't think about the elephant. And then when they open their eyes, and I'm like, what did you think about? And they'll be like, ice cream. And I'm like, oh, see, yeah, because
Just
but I'm like, and then I get to use that as an example, like, yes, you're doing it. You did think about the elephant, but then you reframed it, and now
yeah,
you're thinking about what you want to think about. So it's
exactly.
phenomenal. Dude, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I love right there. You were talking about like the science behind it. I mean, do you present that to the kids as far as the science side, or is it just for the background so that you understand it better?
Just for the background, but I say, I don't talk about the amygdala, but I talk about the fight or flight mode. So
Mm,
basically, you're playing in survival when you play scared. How's your decision making when you're scared? You notice that you get rid of the ball quicker because you don't want to mess up, right? So
mhm,
you're not as creative because you're using a different part of your brain. So, and then I go into the how do you think you should be playing instead, right?
mm,
So instead of playing safe, instead of playing scared, and then most of them they say play with confidence, and then I like to call it taking risks, and and then I go into the mentality, the shark mentality. But yeah, that's basically I present them how they're playing right now, and there's a 95% chance to make more mistakes when you play like this. The other way to play, you have a way better odds. Even if it was 50-50, right? When you take risks, you have a 50% chance to mess up, 50% chance to do something good. But I say typically when you take risk, when you try things because of your skills, your techniques, and after one positive thing, another positive thing happens, your odds are improving. So it's going to be like a 70-30 split. And then I asked them, like, when do you remember your best game ever? Yes. Did you make zero mistakes? And there's some of them they say yes, but like, but basically they say no. I still made a couple. You see, but you made more good things than bad things. So that's the only way you should be playing is by trying things, taking risks, being more aggressive. And when you do that, you do more good things than bad things. Does it happen all the time? No, but most of the time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's the good thing about baseball in particular is baseball is such a game of failure.
Yeah,
Because you go up to bat, like you look at major league batting averages, right? A guy goes up to bat 10 times, and if he gets out 7 out of 10 times, he could still be a Hall of Famer. So it's a little easier to teach that. It's still a challenge though, because those kids, they're like, oh, if I don't hit a home run, it's nothing. It's like, no, no,
yeah,
no, hold on, and
perfection.
yeah, they want perfection, but it's not. And yeah, so that's what it's tough though. We always tell our parents too that, baseball and sports in general, they're just a game of adversity. And like we were talking about earlier with life skills and everything, is I call it controlled adversity, where you want to introduce that into your kids' lives early and in a controlled environment. And I mean, competition in sports is a great place to do that, in my opinion.
Of
Yeah, no, I
course.
love
Yeah.
I love all that. When you started when you started teaching, or really, yeah, started teaching youth athletes about the mindset and pushing that, did you get a lot of resistance from, like, I mean, just in general, did you get resistance or skepticism, or I mean, have you had a pretty good response to teaching the mental side of the game?
At the beginning, yes, but I think I was just doing it for with kids that I was training them on the field, and I was just adding them as a bonus thing, and that's how I basically got a lot of the testimonials at the beginning. Some of the testimonials at the beginning because those players were transformed, and I was training some on the field only, and some on the field and on Zoom.
Mm.
You could see the difference. I wish I had a chart that shows those guys did the training, the mental, these guys no, and they're a completely different thing. So and then I was showing those basically those testimonials and everything. Obviously at the beginning there's more skepticism. Now people start to realize, and they keep seeing what my content also. They keep seeing different results every week, and we have tons of results. Plus, I'm trying to educate how important is the mental side of the game. You can do, I speak with parents every time, and they say we do everything. We do speed and agility, strength, and everything. I don't know why he's not performing, because it's missing that mental component. Once you do that, everything else falls through. So I think it's just more trying to educate, and then in my opinion, in the next 5 years is going to be like private training is right now. So there's going to be way more mindset coaches. Where it's going to be something very, very, very common that people do, because it is the most important thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm glad that you said that too. I saw this thing the other day where it talked about how, and it was good because it kind of put my thoughts of youth sports in general into actual words, where they were like, youth sports is, we have it backwards because it is such a mental game. Now, there's a physical aspect to it, but it's there's such a mental aspect to sports, but we don't train it. Just like you said, we don't train it. We just push them more physically, but we need to train them on the mental side of it just as much, if not more, than on the physical side. It was like, I'm pretty sure, hopefully I don't get this wrong because I'm a baseball guy, but I believe it was Yogi Berra who said, um, 90% of the game is, or 90% of the game is mental, the other half is physical, and
Yeah,
so
yeah,
the older kids are always like, wait, coach, that math doesn't add up. And I'm like, right, but that's the point, right? I mean, it's 90% mental,
yeah.
but the other half, that's a physical side. So yeah, no, I love that. Do you offer, your clients or your athletes, do you offer them physical training within your
No,
program? Oh, okay.
no, it's not physical. They can go to a private trainers if they want. There's a lot of them, so I can even recommend if they're in Miami. But I don't do that.
Yeah. Just to partner up with somebody or say, hey, yeah, recommend this. Yeah. No, for sure. That's great.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you say that the parents sometimes are a little skeptical or they have misconceptions about the mental training. What are the biggest misconceptions that people or parents have when you talk about mindset training? Is it just the physical side or what? Yeah.
I think, yeah, they're not used to this, and it's like, how can you speak with somebody and now he's a completely different player? Like they may be skeptical of the results too, but like there's so many and kids and parents talking that it's kind of like, this is, it has to be true. But yeah, it's just basically not used to. When you're not used to something or something new, that nobody have seen before or have worked on, it's normal. There's always skepticism, in anything.
Yeah.
Something new, I've never seen this, and people don't talk about it, and so it must be like not true, or so that's the real. But I'm confident that in the next few years it's going to be super common.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I love that because you do have a lot of testimonials. And I mean, since I've been introduced to who you are, follow your content and stuff. And because it's powerful, right? I mean, especially being a youth coach, I'm drawn to it because I love being able to help the next generation of people, right? And it's
Yeah.
awesome. What's some of the most memorable transformations? And it doesn't have to be specific to a kid, but like what's the most memorable or the most impactful transformations that you've seen from kids?
So I had one specific that used to vomit before games. He was so nervous and that to the point that he was making himself sick. Another kid was he was not getting out of the car. Sometimes he's like deciding not to get out of the car, just, anxious. And you
Mm,
see in 2 weeks they go and they stop vomiting. I have even had this testimonial, the mom saying vomiting has been a thing of the past. I can't believe we spoke with many psychologists and nothing works. And 2 coaching calls, he hasn't vomited since. He's becoming the top scorer in the team. We have somebody that is playing in PSG in France right now. So yeah, I mean, a lot of kids that are really struggling. Some of them they're like not playing at their potential, but some of them are really, really struggling to the point that they want to quit. And we saved quite a bit of players that the mom is like, "This is the last resort," and I said, "Trust me, if he does what we ask," and he did everything that we asked, and now he's so playing with so much fun. So I love to see those transformation. I want to try to reduce that 70% number. It'll be a big thing to just do 50% and get and with you and me and other people, just trying to reduce that number by a lot.
yeah. No, absolutely. That's awesome. That's phenomenal. So I don't know soccer. You said PSG France. I'm just curious. That perked my. What is PSG in France?
PSG is one of the top team in Europe, and he's
Okay.
in France, so it's Paris Saint-Germain. So he went to play for the academy there. I have a letter, basically from the team inviting him there, and the mom is like, "Thank you for helping Samuel achieving his dream." So it's like that's very powerful when you get that, and that was one of the. It was at the beginning. And that was one of the main driver. I need to develop a clear structure program and just focus on this because it's good to see somebody doing technical training and stay on the field and then he's scoring 2 goals. But like seeing a transformation like this, you can spend hundreds of hours with a kid on the field. He's not going to see those results. So that's what drives me is those complete transformation that you will not get with private training. And that's what I tell a lot of my stories on my reels. If you want a little improvement, do more private training, go talk to a therapist. If you want a complete 180, 360, whatever you want transformation, you gotta go through those mental tools, those habits, and the things that we teach.
Yeah. Oh, that's phenomenal. That's powerful stuff right there. Like seeing a kid do a 180. You know what I mean? I mean, speaking just to my own experience, and I'm using my oldest as an example. Of course, I'm biased because I'm dad, but just being a timid kid. Um, And I mean, I like a little bit of edge, you know what I mean? And just kind of putting yourself out there, but I don't like big celebrations. But I'll never forget the first time that I saw him kind of build like where I was like, oh, this mental stuff is really coming into play. Is he was on the mound and he was doing fine, whatever, but he's kind of struggling a little bit, and he struck this one kid out. And as he turned around to walk back to the mound, he just gave a little fist bump. And it was like at that moment, I was like, dude, he's seeing the change. You know what I mean? Like as a dad too, I was like, it was very impactful for me because I'm like, oh, this stuff's working, and he's starting to be able to, like you said earlier, direct himself and push himself in that mindset. So it's almost like, hey, he doesn't need me anymore, but
Yeah, exactly.
no, that's awesome. I love that. That's phenomenal. So your program's 90 days, and you talk about, why do you think that they're, like you said, in like the first couple weeks, first couple of sessions, they're starting to see the transformations. Is that just because of the way you start, or like you're just reframing their foundational thoughts, or how's that go down?
Yeah, I think I believe in, giving them quick wins right away so they can, continue following, because, if you don't see fast results, some people might quit, and they say this is not working. So the beginning is, just those mental tools, and making them realize how they're playing now and how they should be playing, literally changing their personality on the field. You got to change who you are on the field, and applying those techniques will help you do that. Literally, I just pretend to be the coach. The coach now sees you as this player. Now you should be this player, right? So, and then, yeah, obviously the beliefs of champions, and we talk about limiting beliefs, remove them, and then self-talk, also big thing. And then continue practicing that mental loop that we teach, and that's why they see a transformation in the first few weeks. Yeah, it's because of how the program is structured.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love that. Is that all the stuff, like if you could go back, if you go back to like 15-year-old Valentino, is that the stuff that you would teach him?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
of course. I wish I had that. But yeah,
Yeah. I know. Say I think about that all the time too, because I didn't really find the mindset sort of thing or thinking until, I mean, it's been 7 years now. And I just remember like the origin story of Coach Wads, of like me and the mindset thing, and I'm like, gosh, I wish I would have seen that when I was younger. Although I was being taught that, it just wasn't, like you said, in a structured
exactly.
system. You know what I mean? Because all those mentors and coaches, and I had one teacher that was super impactful in my life. And he's the one who didn't let me give up. In fact, there was a competition that I was going to do, not sports related, it was educational related. But I remember I woke up that morning, I was like, I'm not going to go do it. And he called me and was like, Josh, where are you? I said, I'm not going to be there. And he goes, get your butt down here. And I did, and ended up winning state and went on to nationals. And it's like, that was an impactful part. So I was being taught that, but not necessarily in a structured
Yeah,
thing. So I love that. Yeah.
that's what a lot of mentors, you think about Tony Robbins or a lot of the other mentors, they learn the hard way and then they teach you the easy way.
Right, right. Yeah, Valentino. Yeah, you learned the hard way. Now you're like, here, kids, I got it for you. Let's
Yeah,
go. That's
30
awesome. I
days, you're
love it.
done.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, no, that's good. What kind of drives you? I mean, obviously the transformations and stuff drive you, but I know you are, from the little bit that I do know, you're a very busy individual. You're building, you're growing your business and everything. But what kind of keeps you going? What keeps you to, keeps the drive alive and builds that fire inside?
Yeah, so I want to, be known as the go-to guy for soccer mindset, and kind of like Tony Robbins is for his own thing, and because I want to impact, millions of kids. So there's still a long way to go. We transformed 500, so there's a big number to go. And so yeah, that's what drives me, and obviously we have a lot of cool ideas that needs time to be executed, as far as the AI, and more tools to help kids, stay accountable, and have better results.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's one thing that I always struggle with personally, and building and growing the business, is there's so much that I want to accomplish, but understanding that it can't happen all right now, and
Yes.
one of the phrases that I heard the other day, and now I've really kind of implemented into my own life, but then my mindset teaching too, is be impatient with your action, but patient with the results, because the results are going to be what it is. Because that's one thing we teach too with our athletes is the results don't define you.
Yeah.
It's your effort that defines you and what you do next. Because you could get knocked down. You could go 0 for 4 in a game, but that next at bat is what defines you. It's not
Yeah.
what happened in the past. And so, yeah, no, I love that. Where do you see you kind of alluded to it, but where do you see the DSM, your program and your business being in 5 years, let's say? That's always a tough question to put people on the spot with, but
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, just keep growing now. I have the systems. We have 4 coaches. We have two more that are going to be hired in the next maybe 6 to 12 months. We're trying to scale, and we have our team, the sales team in place, and so we're really trying to ramp it up and get to the next steps, and just to impact more kids, and then you know keep growing. I don't know, a number or a goal, but it's just continue growing, continue building, and like hitting more platforms. I'm focusing a lot on YouTube just to get the message out. Maybe going on more podcasts, and just on a road to help millions of kids.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love that mission. I really do. I always my wife hates it when I not hates it, but she always gives me a hard time when, especially with like the younger athletes, and when we're doing, because like I coach competitive baseball, travel baseball, but I also do rec leagues, so football and basketball and stuff. And then I always have my coaches meeting. At the beginning, I'm like, okay, here's my philosophy, and like these athletes are like 5, 6 years old, and she goes, "Why are you talking about philosophy?" I'm like, "Well, because there is a philosophy when it comes to it. I want the parents to understand. Yes, I want them to be good, get better at their sport, um, but I want them to have fun, and I want to teach them how to be good human beings, and so
Yes.
that's where the philosophy, I mean, it's simple." And
Yeah.
she's like, "Oh, okay." After she's heard it for 5, 6, 7 years. Now she's like, "Okay, yeah, the philosophy makes sense. I get it." But
Yeah, and
yeah.
also there's a lack of leadership in anything in recently in the past 5 to 10 years. So I want to develop leaders, people
Mhm.
that have the courage to do things. They don't get shut down after the first challenge. They don't quit. So it's just building the next generation of leaders because we need it.
Yeah, 100%. That I love that. We teach our boys, and actually we had a team parent meeting last night. And I always quiz the boys because I want to show their parents like, hey, these boys are working hard at the mental side of the game too. But I always tell them like, what do we want every single one of you to be? Because there's 12 kids, and sometimes I have to prompt them a little bit because they're like, oh, good baseball players or this or that and whatever. But I'm like, well, yes, but we want you all to be leaders. We don't want one leader on the field. Like all of you should be out there leading, because one day you might need someone to pick you up, but the next time you got to pick somebody else up, and that's being
Yeah.
a leader, so I love that. No, that's awesome. I love the mission, Valentino. Like I really do. Like it resonates and it hits home so heavily, and that's fantastic. So, question for you personally: what's one thing that people would be surprised to learn about you off the field, outside of the mindset coaching thing?
That's a good question. Interesting question. I mean, seeing you see probably they see my content. And I see that I talk a lot, that I speak and everything. But I'm a very shy, very reserved person, and I always been. So maybe that's something that is
No
not.
way.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
good answer. That's a good answer. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe a little introverted. Were you that way like
Yeah.
growing up too? Like playing soccer and
Yeah.
everything? Pretty
Yeah.
introverted and yeah.
Yeah, I really had to build it, by recording videos. I actually pull up a video of, 4 or 5 years ago, that one of the first videos that I was recording, and I can't rewatch it again. I just watch it one So, but just, confidence, comes from doing, right? If you suck at something, you keep doing it until you don't,
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, and I, it forces me to go out and do talk more to people, and and recording also put me outside of my comfort zone because I don't like to record videos, but I need to do it, otherwise nobody sees my message. Most people don't even start. They have good ideas, they have good stuff, good programs. I have friends, they want to start a program, but they don't want to put themselves out there. They don't want to talk on the camera. They don't want to show their face. So you gotta, if you have something that, and they're really passionate about what they're doing.
Mhm.
I have a dating coach. I have somebody that is a fitness coach, but they don't wanna put themselves. What if I fail? What if I don't look good on camera? And it's just you're just doing you know, a disfavor. How do you say it? Like,
Hmm.
you're just, the service to the people that you should be helping, that you could be helping.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're truly passionate about it and you believe in it and it's for a good cause, then you're not doing yourself or anybody else any favors by not helping them, not putting
Yeah.
yourself out there, And I mean, it's cliche, it is, but it makes so much sense. Growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. And that's one thing I have to remind myself all the time too, is especially when I started shooting videos as well and putting myself out there and stuff, like you always have this pride or that ego gets in the way, right? And
Yes.
you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna look terrible in front of all these
Yeah.
people. And in reality, even still where I'm at today, right now, nobody gives a crap.
No,
Like,
and also you wish that a lot of people see you, like, and that's a
yeah,
good thing if millions of people see you, if you look back, so,
yeah, yeah.
but in reality, hundreds of people see you at the beginning, then you get
Yeah.
better. More people.
But it's that
Uh,
ego, right? That ego's like,
yes,
oh, everybody's gonna see
yeah,
you and they're all gonna judge you and everything. And it's like,
exactly.
no, not
Nobody
really.
cares.
Yeah, nobody
Nobody
cares.
cares.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And you just have to keep going, like you said, you got to keep grinding, keep pushing, get those reps in.
Yeah,
That's what I tell people all the time is just get those reps. And speaking on the mindset side, we talk about mental reps all the time with our athletes too. Is like we did an exercise with them a couple weeks ago where we actually did a visualization and then we talk about the mental reps. And then we said, okay, tonight before you go to bed, when you're laying there, close your eyes and for 30 seconds, just mentally see yourself do it because your body and your brain don't know if you're actually doing it or if you are doing it in your head. So we
yeah,
actually went through a whole visualization, like where we teach them how to use all five senses, through a visualization so that they can understand that. And it's funny because when we get to the taste one, they're like, well, how do you taste baseball? And I'm like, as you're walking up to the batter's box, you're chewing that gum, and so you can taste what it tastes like, or you can smell the hot dogs from the stands, different things like that. And they're like, oh my gosh, like, yeah,
yeah.
it's pretty fun. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's actually a study. I don't remember the study correctly, but like, so people were practicing playing the piano in their mind, in their head, and they were becoming better at playing the piano just by practicing it in their mind, even if they never played the piano before, or they just played the piano once and then they were start playing it in their head, and they were getting better.
Yeah.
Like they were learning. It's crazy.
Yeah. That's wild. I love that. Yeah. Another way that we demonstrated that to them was we talked to them about, like, have you ever had the dream where something is happening and all of a sudden you're falling and then you wake up and you're startled?
Yeah,
Y Your body and your brain thought that was real, and they're like, "Oh my gosh," and then they start really thinking about that, and then it's fun because then the kids start really, "Oh, I had this dream where I it was like I cut my fingers off and I woke up and my hand hurt," and I'm like, "Yes, because your brain and your body don't know the difference, and
yeah.
so put yourself through
It,
that." It's so much
it,
fun to see that. Yeah.
you probably were. He probably was sleeping on his hand, and you couldn't feel his hand, and then he kind of like, "Oh, that
Y
hurts."
Yeah, yeah. No, that's awesome. I love seeing that too when those things really start to trigger. And
Clicking,
you
yeah.
s yeah, and it just yeah, everything starts clicking for these kids. Yeah, it's awesome. Well, Valentino, is there anything else that you wanna share with everybody? I mean, anything in
Um,
particular?
I
Message?
mean, yeah, I mean, anybody needs to work on their mindset. Anybody needs mentors. So that's one of the thing. I was teaching this, maybe 3 4 years before it really started to take off. But I until I hire a mentor that taught me how to get in front of more people, how to become the leader in my space. That's when everything changed. And now I live by it because. If you want to learn YouTube, you gotta. I hired a mentor. You wanna anything. I wanted to get in the best physical shape of my life. I hired a fitness coach. Every single time you want to cut the learning curve or you want to achieve a result, hiring mentors will get you there. See the results, because some people, they just say, oh, he's this price, this one is half, let me go with this. Just check the results. Don't just go because it's cheaper. By the session is cheaper. So I believe in mentors, and mentors can really help your child, because you might not know, but then one day your child is 13 years old and is like, I want to quit, and then
Mhm.
it's too late, right? So if you have a kid that is struggling and they're not having fun playing, I would just suggest to get a mentors and help them, and then don't do more technical training.
Yeah, 100%. Like because there's programs out there, and especially in baseball too. I'm hyper aware of different programs that are out there. Not I don't mean that in a negative way, but
Yeah.
and they're all self-guided, right? You purchase it for a few $100s or whatever it is, but it's self-guided. But the mentor is where you get the real impact because it's the accountability.
Yes.
That's where I've been so passionate about what I do is like I've worked with these athletes and some men, and it's like here, like for instance, like I developed my mindset journal, right? And this is geared towards the adult man, the male or the adult. Um, and I tell people all the time, listen, to do the things that I have in this book and everything, could you purchase this and then go do your thing? You could,
Maybe.
but are you actually going to do it? And are you going to hold yourself accountable? And I'm like, that's where I come in. And same thing as a mentor for our youth athletes. You can sit a kid down in front of a computer to watch a video, but is it going to stick? You know
No.
what I mean? You
Eh,
need that, and I know that from my own experience. Like I was lucky enough to have somebody that pushed me, and and that's where I found the accountability. So I love that you
But
say that the mentor.
you and I were lucky. Some of the kids are not. They're not gonna find that mentor, if unless you go somewhere and seek it. If
Yeah.
we can't rely on just luck. You got to find your own luck, right?
Yep. My favorite saying is luck is the intersection of opportunity and hard work. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? You got to put in the work, and then so you're ready when that opportunity comes. There is no
Yeah.
such thing in luck. In fact, and I say this all the time, and people that follow me, they'll know it and they'll hear it, but I love saying it. Our favorite saying in our house, and I adopted this from a good friend of mine, Chad, but luck is for losers. And people look at me and they're like, whoa, wait a minute. That's terrible. And I'm like, no, but listen, here's why I say that. It comes from a good place. It's you don't need the luck, right? You've put in the preparation, you've put in the time. Now is the time to go out there and prove what you can do.
Yeah.
That's what luck is,
Yeah.
And so it's funny because like my youngest, when he was really young, like 3 or 4 years old, I was leaving to go play adult volleyball. And of course, we're like, hey, luck is for losers. My wife says, good luck. And I'm like, hey, luck is for losers. My youngest was like, don't be a loser, dad. It's just people will hear that and they're like, wait, whoa, that's terrible. And I'm like, no, but it comes from a good place, and that's awesome. I love it, Valentino. Well, where where can people find you? Where do you want them to find you? Social media, website?
Yeah.
What do you yeah.
Yeah. They can go on my Instagram and or my website, DiLorenzo Soccer, or yeah, on my Instagram page as well. So
Yeah.
that's my.
Instagram. And then the website here is DiLorenzo Mindset. And I'll definitely put the links in the when I post this up on
Mhm.
Spotify. It'll be on Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, and then I'll post it up to YouTube too. So I'll
Nice.
make sure that all of these links are in there.
Great.
Yeah, I love
Awesome.
it. Yeah, everybody. So go on and check it out. Like there's a lot of good stuff on here. Like I find myself, yeah, consuming the content because I love it. It means a lot
Mhm.
to me and my mission as well. So yeah, no, that's awesome. Well, what else, Valentino? Is there anything? I mean, this has been awesome. I just want to tell you, thank you, dude. This has been so much fun for me to get to know you a little bit better, and I appreciate you. Like I said earlier, too. Appreciate you just wanting to jump on and being willing to. I really do
Yeah,
appreciate
no,
that.
no, I really appreciate you doing this and taking the time as well.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. Well, we'll hopefully we can find some more time to do it again. We'll talk here in
Yeah,
a few months and yeah, keep rocking and rolling, but I appreciate you. Thank
yeah,
you so
we
much.
can we can we can find a new specific subject that we want to talk about, and we can do it. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. No, for sure. Appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you
of
later.
course.
All right.
Thank you, man.